Translation by His Divine Grace Srila Prabhupada. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Raghava Pandit's sister Damayanti was the dear maid servant of the Lord. She always collected various ingredients with which to cook for Lord Chaitanya. Purport. In the Gaur Gano Desha Deepika, verse 167, it is mentioned, Gunamala Vraje Yasid Damayanti Tu Tat Swasa. The gopi named Gunamala has now appeared as his sister Damayanti. On the East Bengal railway line, beginning from the Sialda station in Calcutta, there is a station named Sodhpur, which is not very far from Calcutta. Within 1 mile of this station, toward the western side of the Ganges, is a village known as Panihati, in which the residential quarters of Raghav Pandit still exist. On Raghav Pandit's tomb is a creeper on a concrete platform. There is also a Madan Mohan deity in a broken down temple nearby. This temple is managed by a local zamindar of the name Shri Shivachandra Rai Chaudhary. Makar Dhwajkara was also an inhabitant of Panihati. Om Ajnanatimirandasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Guruve Namaha. Shri Chaitanya Manobishtam Stapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamayam Dadati Swapadantikam Vandeham Shri Guru Shri Yuta Padakamalam Shri Gurun Vaishnavamscha Shri Rupam Sagrajatam Sahagana Raghunatam Vitam Tam Sajivam Sadvaitam Savadutam Parijana Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padan Sahagana Lalita Shri Vishakhanvitamscha. He Krishna Karuna Sindhu Dina Bandhu Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namostute Tapta Kanchana Gaurangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Vrishabhanu Sute Devi Pranamami Hari Priye Vancha Kalpataribhyascha Kripa Sindhubhyevacha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namah. Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Shrivasadi Gaur Bhakta Vrinda. Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. Hare Krishna. So how many of us know Raghav Pandit? The subject of today's class. How many know? Yeah, so that is what? Very few. So Raghav Pandit is basically not very well known, but he is one of the most extraordinary devotees. And in his house, which is in Panihati, which is written here, extraordinary activities took place, where Lord Chaitanya and Nityananda themselves took part, and they loved to take part. Now, at first I was going to speak from memory as I usually do, but today I'm going to read most of it, because the details are very important. Because the Raghav Pandit and his sister Damayanti, they're known for their cooking. And there's a detailed descriptions of the dishes that they used to offer Lord Chaitanya, and which he relished like anything. Like that. So that you don't miss out, I'm going to read. But I'll try to make the reading as interesting as possible. So, Dhanishta Bhaksha Samagrim Krishna Yadad Vrajamitam Saiva Sampratam Gauranga Priyo Raghava Pandita Gunamala Vraje Yashid Damayanti Tutta Swadsa. The Gopi Dhanishta, who brought unlimited amounts of food to Krishna in Vraja, has now become Gauranga's dear maid servant, Raghav Pandit. So that is who he was in Krishna Lila. He was the Gopi called Dhanishta. His sister Damayanti was Gunamala in Krishna Lila. And the source is Gaur Ganesh Deepika by Krishna Kavi Karnapur. Then in Krishna Lila, Dhanishta would take Krishna Prasad to Srimati Radharani on Yashoda Mata's order. Radharani would then lovingly take the Prasad. Bhakti Vinod Thakur sings in his Bhogarti, Yashomati Aja Peye Dhanishta Anita Shri Krishna Prasad Radha Bhuje Haye Prita. Mahaprabhu, who was none other than Krishna, in the mood of Radharani, similarly accepted the food offerings made by Dhanishta's incarnation, Raghav Pandit. So we can see that both are in service of, both are in both Leelas, playing very important roles. And it's to do with prasadam. Like that. So, coming to Mahaprabhu's Leela in Raghav Pandit's house. Raghav Pandit's home was in the town Panihati, which is also famous for Chida Dahi festival. Yeah, that's right. So, home was in town Panihati. Panihati is on the eastern bank of the Ganges, 1 mile from the Shodhpur station on the eastern railway line out of Sialda. Now, I'm reading this because this is very important. Yeah, one is book Bhagavat and one is the person Bhagavat. So here is the person Bhagavat. So glorifying the person Bhagavat and hearing about his glories also purifies us in its highest levels of devotional service. Especially we get blessings of Raghav Pandit, which is so very important for us. So it's important, each and everything that is here is important. Krishna Das Kaviraj Goswami has written that Mahaprabhu remained permanently in the house of Raghav Pandit. He never left the house of Raghav Pandit. How dear he must be to him. The Lord's manifestations took place in the home of Sachi Mata during Nityananda's dancing in Srivasa's Kirtan. So we also know the other place that Chaitanya Mahaprabhu danced and had, singing and dancing going on was Srivas Angad in Srivas Pandit's house. Like that. And the second house was in the house of Raghav Pandit. It is the Lord's nature to be attracted by his devotees' love. So again and again this point I found out is coming up, that Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is attracted to Raghav Pandit's love and Damayanti's love. So love is, it is not just prasadam, it's love-filled prasadam. Krishna says in the Bhagavad Gita, Patram pushpam phalam toyam yome bhaktya prayachati tadhamasnami upartam. So Krishna takes the leaf, flower, fruit, these offerings, but he said bhaktya, if it is not offered by loving devotion, then Krishna has the option not to take it. So unless it is offered by love, it won't be taken. And here we can see they are perfecting that, and therefore they have perfected their devotional service to the Lord, and they have pleased the Lord. Vrindavan Das Thakur's biography of the Lord indicates clearly how dear Raghav Pandit was to Mahaprabhu. So even Vyasadev's incarnation, Vrindavan Das Thakur, he quotes this, not just Krishna Das Kaviraj Goswami. When he saw the Lord of his life coming towards his home, this is Raghav Pandit, in Panihati, from Srivas's house in Kumarhatta, Raghav Pandit fell down at his feet, overcome by love. When the Lord of Vaikuntha saw Raghav Pandit's devotion, he blessed him with a look of favor. We see our spiritual masters, looking at all of us like that. And sometimes in the beginning I didn't understand what they were doing. They're actually giving us that look of favor, which we all need like that. And here the Lord is doing the same to his disciples like that. The Lord said, I have come to Raghav's house and forgotten all my distress simply by seeing him. Now this is the Lord speaking, who takes away the hurry, means he takes away the distress of everyone. And he is saying that when I come to Raghav's house, I forget all my distresses simply by seeing him. So the Lord is putting his devotee, how dear he must be, on a pedestal, that he is even, greater than me. I feel the same pleasure by coming here as I do when I take a refreshing bath in the Ganges. So the Lord compares it to taking bath in the Ganges, which flows from the Lord's own lotus feet and purifies all the three worlds, coming down from the spiritual world. The Lord often told Raghav Pandit to cook for him because he enjoyed accepting his devotion-soaked preparations. Again, devotion-soaked preparations. Raghav Pandit cooked and fed the Lord with great enthusiasm. Balram's other form, Nityananda Prabhu, would also come to eat at Raghava's house with his companions, and all would praise his cooking. Mahaprabhu especially enjoyed his spinach platters. I don't know what that is, what spinach platters were. We have spinach rolls in Govinda's restaurant in Soho Street. That's what I've come to closest. But must try all these. I remembered. I'll find out the recipes and cook them just to offer to Mahaprabhu at home and see if it works. In order to please Raghav Pandit Prabhu as well. To thank him that I got inspired by reading about you. While he was there, Gadadhar Das, Purandar Pandit, Parmeshwari Das, Raghunath Vaidya, and other great Vaishnavas came to Raghava's house in Panihati by Mahaprabhu's desire. So Mahaprabhu also wanted all the devotees to gather there. The Lord took Raghava aside in order to explain to him his identity with Nityananda Prabhu. So here the Lord is revealing the secret to him. He also told, okay, here it is not given, but what the Lord told, that Lord Nityananda Prabhu is non-different from me, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu said. Whatever he speaks, I speak that. Whatever he does, I do that. And therefore, he is non-different from me. And you should just follow him. Like that. That is what he revealed to Raghav Pandit. He also told Makara Dhwajkara. Makara Dhwajkara is a disciple of Raghav Pandit. So Mahaprabhu told him, Raghav Pandit's disciple, that service to Raghav Pandit was the same as service to himself. So he also revealed to Makara Dhwaj, his disciple, that Raghav Pandit is also the same as, service to him is the same as service to me. So he's saying he is non-different from me, giving him that position. Raghavera Jali, this is very important. Jali means the bag. Makara Dhwaj who was disciple of Raghav Pandit, a Kayastha who lived in Panihati, was Raghav Pandit's initiated disciple. It was he who annually carried the bags of food that his spiritual master prepared for the Lord in Puri. So every year devotees used to go from Bengal to Jagannath Puri, And Raghavendra Pandit and his sister, they used to prepare lots of preparations. In fact, Damayanti used to spend the whole year trying to find out what new preparations I can prepare for the Lord. She was very concerned. She was concerned about what? The digestion of the Lord. So we can see the Lord is the fire of digestion. He digests the food of every living entity. But the devotee is, wants to take care of the Lord, thinking of the Lord as a human being, as a person, and that is what increases the rasa. Because if the Lord, yes, you are the fire of digestion in everyone, so, there's no problem for you. I can feed you anything. But she's saying, I am concerned about that, so I want to feed you something that helps your fire of digestion. It brings the rasa, which is there, which the Lord is relishing here. He was named as the superintendent of the bags, Raghavera Jhali. The bags were called Raghavera Jhali because Raghav Pandit himself used to carry, along with his disciple Makara Dhwaj Kara, all these bags so that he could personally give it to Mahaprabhu. Raghavera's bags were filled with various preparations that his sister Damayanti made throughout the year for Mahaprabhu. They have been mentioned in Abhiram Das Thakur's Pata Pariyatana. So I didn't refer to this book. There wasn't enough time. But I'm making it a point to see if this book is available. Raghav Pandit and Damayanti lived in Panihati. They were famous for the bags of food known as Raghavera Jhali. Raghav Pandit, Mahaprabhu's primary follower, is the Lord's seventh branch, which is what is mentioned here. An important sub-branch is Makara Dhwaja, proceeded from Raghav Pandit. His disciple took over from him. His sister Damayanti was the Lord's dear maid servant, who throughout the year gathered various ingredients for the Lord's bhoga. Raghava filled bags Raghava filled bags with the foods Damayanti prepared and secretly carried them to Puri for the Lord. So they secretly carried. I don't know, the reason is not revealed here. The Lord then ate these gifts of food for an entire year. So they lasted for an entire year. So this is another thing, that prasad never, bhoga, cooked for the Lord, and prasad, they never go stale. Even the Lord used to eat. He loved his devotees so much. He used to those preparations that were brought, he used to eat them throughout the year, like that. Jai Jai Shri Shri Radha Gokulananda ki Jai, Shri Shri Sita ji, Ram ji, Lakshman ji, Hanuman ji ki Jai, Shri Shri Gaur Nitai ki Jai, Srila Prabhupada ki Jai. Krishnadas Kaviraj Goswami writes a complete description of these bags in Chaitanya Charitamrita 3.10. Krishna's devotees in Vraja have no sense of majesty in their attitude towards the Lord, because they used to always, Krishna doesn't like to play Lord in Vraja. He is just the servant of everyone, dealing with everyone in the different rasas, like that. So therefore his devotees don't have his sense of majesty. Damayanti was prepared Shukta, famous Bengali preparations, which some of the devotees prepare here for the deities. So we have tasted that for the Lord, because she was worried that he might have problems with his digestion. Mahaprabhu was overjoyed to receive these preparations that were offered with such affection. Raghav Pandit came with bags full of condiments prepared very nicely by his sister Damayanti. Damayanti made varieties of unparalleled food suitable for the Lord. The Lord would then enjoy them for the entire year that followed. These are the names of some of the pickles and condiments in the bags of Raghav Pandit. Mango mustard pickle. Anyone has tasted that? Well, yeah, you have tasted it. Very nice. Sounds nice to the imagination. So, we should prepare. Okay, that was one. Then ginger mustard pickle. Wow. Hot spicy mustard. Mustard seems to be good for the digestion. So, brahmacharis especially, digestion problems can be sorted out by mustard. Lime and mango pickle. Amrakoli. Dried ground mango. Mouth is watering. After 15-20 minutes we'll have prasadam. So this is a good appetizer for that. Mangoes preserved in oil and dried mango. Mangoes preserved in oil. Never heard of that. I don't know, probably mustard oil because that's famous in Bengal. With great attention, Damayanti also made a powdered dry bitter vegetable preparation, shukta. So shukta is bitter, the Karela and the bitter vegetables. Do not disregard shukta because it is a bitter preparation. The Lord derived more happiness from eating this shukta than from drinking Charnamrita. It is spelled wrong here and I forgot the word. Charnamrit. So the Lord enjoyed it more than he enjoyed drinking Charnamrit. A combination of milk, sugar, ghee, honey and curd. Since Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is the Supreme Lord, he takes the spirit in which things are given. The Lord takes the consciousness of the devotee, not the thing, because everything comes from him anyway. What can we give him? So he takes the consciousness. Now I know why, my spiritual master sometimes says, the only wealth that we really have is our consciousness. Because that is the only thing that the Lord accepts. So looking after our consciousness is the main thing. Since Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is the Supreme Lord, he takes the spirit in which gives it, accepting the love in which the gift is given. So the consciousness imbued with love. He therefore derived great pleasure even from the dried bitter leaves of shukta and kashandi, mustard sauce. Because of her natural love for Mahaprabhu, Damayanti considered him to be an ordinary human being and therefore worried that he might become sick from overeating and get dysentery. So this is the rasa of the devotee. So much worried for the Lord, just like Yashoda Mai and Srimati Radharani, like that. Shri prepared shukta for him since it diminishes mucus that accumulates in the digestive system. So anyone, there's a thing called av, Av is they are toxins, but they are in the form of mucus. They cover the linings of the stomach and the intestines, and they create problems in digestion, and therefore, that leads to other problems, because once the stomach is packed up, then the whole health is packed up, like that. So, therefore, it's explained very detailed. So the mucus, so to get rid of this mucus, then, bitter things are good, because that eliminates it from the digestive system. Damayanti's affectionate attitude brought great pleasure to the Lord. Now, there's another aspect to it. Raghav Pandit's strict cleanliness. Mahaprabhu joyfully praised the extent of Raghav Pandit's devotion to his entourage in Puri, especially talking about his coconut offerings. Though Raghav Pandit possessed hundreds of coconut trees in his own garden, he would have more expensive nuts brought from afar in order to offer coconut water and pulp as offerings that Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu happily accepted. So, to what extent this brother and sister used to go to please the Lord. Raghav Pandit never offered anything to the Lord that was not pure and not of the highest quality. Paying high prices for the best possible produce, he had mangoes, jackfruit. Anyone know what jackfruit is? It's a huge green fruit with yellow, balls inside. Very nice to taste. Jackfruit, bananas and other fruits brought from distant villages to be offered to his Mahaprabhu deity. He also had the deity at home. One day a servant touched the coconut offering after his hand had brushed against the dough frame. Raghav, worried that the dust from people's feet had surely touched the foodstuffs. Thus he rejected them as unsuitable for the deity and threw him away. So he's giving, example, even at home, offering it to the deity. He used to never accept anything that had fallen down or even touched by anyone who was not totally suchi, totally clean. Even if they touched anything, then he used to be worried that the dust would touch that, so he would reject it like that. Should anyone criticize Raghav Pandit for throwing fruit away, Srila Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur has warned, Raghav Pandit was an externally perfected servant of Krishna and not some person with an obsessive compulsive neurosis about cleanliness. So some people have these obsessive disorders. So Howard Hughes, billionaire in the 60s, probably you don't know him. He used to manufacture, his company, Howard Hughes Corporation, used to manufacture aircrafts for the US armed forces. Extremely rich man. And then one day he met an accident. And after that he had this disorder that it has to be complete. So he was kept in a room where everything was clean. And everything, he had gloves even to wear, whatever he did. Gloves for everything, for the feet, hands. He had this obsessive disorder of cleanliness, everything had to be clean, even if it was a little dirty like that. So it wasn't, Raghavendra Pandit wasn't there. So it is said that the ignorant and the Paramahansa both enjoy. So Howard Hughes was from the ignorant side, and Raghav Pandit is the Paramahansa, like that. Nor was he a low-level devotee who artificially projected transcendental qualities on this matter. So he wasn't showing off, Yeah, sometimes, I remember when I go to deities, in front of the deities, I suddenly become very, as if I'm very pious, I'm very devotional. I forget what I was outside, which is good, For the deities at least you have to put up your best front. But the Lord wants it everywhere, and that I forget. From time to time, He wants me to be the same outside as well. But Raghavan Pandit, he wasn't like that. He was that everywhere, actually. He served the object of his worship without the slightest hint of any materialistic attitude. So he didn't expect anything from the Lord. Completely absorbed in transcendental mood of service. Like that. So he also took part in the Chida Dahi festival at Panihati. Like that. But I just wanted to say that, these devotees, now we have not heard anything about them. Because some of them purposely, they told, Krishnadas Kaviraj Goswami, and all, don't include us in Chaitanya Charitamrita or anywhere. And therefore they are not there also. Raghunath Bhatta Goswami is one of them, Gopal Bhatta Goswami is another. A lot of the works that they have written, they have allowed credit to be given to others. So we can see that what is important is really our relationship with the Lord through the spiritual master. As far as our devotional service is concerned. Of course, that doesn't mean we ignore everyone around us. The Lord wants, Krishna says in the Bhagavad Gita, one who sees me in everyone and everyone in me is never lost. So that is given, whether devotee or non-devotee. We are expected to see the Lord and offer them that respect that is there. That is mandatory. The Kanishta Adhikari thinks it is just between me and Krishna. So we are not talking of that. But at the same time, it doesn't matter. Sometimes, we are very much worried. Oh, that devotee is famous. He's getting so much credit. It doesn't matter. Because if the Lord knows what we are doing, that's all matters. Because that is the perfection of life. We can see here, Raghav Pandit, hardly a few hands went up. He doesn't want to be remembered. Because it doesn't matter. Because the Lord knows him, and that's all that matters. Because in the spiritual world, everyone is engaged in their little service. Some of the most intimate servants of the Lord, who are the Manjaris and all they do is make the betel nut, properly, the betel leaves and everything, and offer it to the Lord. So the Lord is taking the consciousness. So, because the Lord takes the consciousness, one is the purifying the consciousness, because that is what He loves in those preparations. And secondly, it is always thinking, what does the Lord want from me? That is what Damayanti is doing. Throughout the year, she is saying, what would the Lord like? What would be good for His health? Like that. She's meditating on that, contemplating, finding out things, and then, making it happen. That's her devotional service. So, it's nice to take that mood. And our being insignificant doesn't matter. Labh, puja, pratishtha, as Nandan Prabhu and I were discussing in the car while he was bringing me here, they are the last snares of Maya, Prabhupada said. They are always there. But these things really don't matter. If we are engaged and absorbed in devotional service like them, nothing else matters. And we respect everyone. Nothing else matters. So, actually that can be, sometimes in Krishna consciousness movement, all these things can be a distraction. Before coming to Krishna consciousness, we were looking for happiness everywhere. And we had to create situations, manufacture. You knew that work, I have to work for 10 to 12 hours, whatever it is, then, travel to and fro. So that is there already. And then you have to manufacture. Just to keep on working, sustaining that work habit. You have to find happiness from somewhere, and you have to manufacture that. But when we come to Krishna consciousness, even chanting nice, a nice round of japa, or dancing in the kirtan, taking part in the kirtan with the right consciousness, brings so much happiness that it can be easily taken for granted. I am still doing it. It can easily be taken for granted. And then we forget that, and then again, the whimsical nature comes out. And, the conditioned nature, we go back to it. And in that we commit offenses, which again kills our devotional service. But when we know what is important, that as long as, I respect the Lord in everyone, and at the same time, I carry on being absorbed and thinking about how I can do my service best to please Guru and Gauranga. Because the service is offered through the disciplic succession. The pure devotees are all already connected to the Lord. They have given us the mercy of that connection. The Prabhupada mentioned the Guru is the transparent medium. He doesn't come in between us and the Lord. He's not standing there, hey, I want your worship or I want anything from you. No, he's dear to the Lord because he becomes transparent. He just introduces. Because he knows that the Lord, by the mercy of the Lord, the disciple gets the Guru. And so my job, the spiritual master thinks, is to introduce the disciple to the Lord and pass on his service to the Lord. So he just becomes a transparent via medium so that the service can be transferred like that. So we can see the mood of these devotees is very, very important, even though they are not known. And because Krishna wants the consciousness, it's just that we can work on our consciousness. That is very important. And consciousness is usually exhibited by our behavior outside. So the behavior says it all. I'm still learning, and I think it'll go on like that. But as long as we are making small progress, taking baby steps, I think Krishna is very, very merciful. He'll acknowledge that. So I'll stop there if anyone has any questions, comments, realizations.